Hey class, Dr. Z here. Just wanted to check in and say hello in person via YouTube feed. Pretty fun. I figure it's a little easier to talk and just say hi. And first off, just want to let everyone know I'm doing well, and I hope you and your families are doing well. I know a variety of folks have already had family issues and issues themselves with COVID and a variety of other stress and anxiety with family and friends around that. So definitely open to chat, or if you need any help modifying any of your deadlines or anything like that, just be in touch with me and we'll figure stuff out, and happy to make this as doable as possible. Bummed to not be in the field right now. It is a beautiful day out there. Looking outside of my window from my house here in Poughkeepsie. Yeah, got a little home office set up. Got some nice little friends in the background. Yeah, I wanted to tell you what's in store for this week. So we have all of your draft storylines for your geozines are due today. And so the goal with that is just to try to get your mind around the tectonic history and the lines of evidence for that history, and how you'll tell that story through the different rock outcrops and different past environments that we observed through those rocks. And I'm going to then give you feedback at the end of this week, second half of this week, based on what you put and uploaded on iLearn, so you can know where you're at, if you're in a good place, or you need to maybe think about changing some things when it looks towards that final geozine and map, which is due at the end of the month, and that is done digitally now. And in order to get those digital skills, in order to create a digital geozine and create some good digital graphics, I put together a new project here that you'll be working on this week. It's not a lot of points overall, but it's mainly designed to help you get prepared for what you need to do for that final geozine, in terms of giving you those digital design skills and digital creation skills, and also just basic graphic design skills so you can make it look aesthetic and use some of those best practices in graphic design. So on iLearn, you'll see posted this digital design 101 and critical zone hydrology project. So it's a combination of teaching you some more geology, earth science key terms and processes, as well as giving you those basics of graphic design and digital design, and how you can create some really great final geozines using some of these skills. And in the short term, we just have this project for this week where you're going to create just a digital diagram of movement of water and just material within the critical zone. And you'll have to watch a video I have posted in that project prompt to learn more about what the critical zone is. I created a pretty fun little field video for you in preparation for everything that's to come here. I did that earlier. And so you can learn about the critical zone and hydrology within the critical zone, and then you can apply those skills to creating this digital diagram. I've also posted some materials for getting those digital skills and for getting those design skills. So you'll go through just some handouts on best practices in graphic design, pretty basic, a fun little slideshow included there. And then you will see I've posted a variety of options of different programs that you can or can't use, depending on what kind of computational software you have, what kind of computer, Mac or PC, things like that. Given all the options out there, talk to you about some of the ways that I use the different programs for creating digital graphics. And I want to iterate that these skill sets, it's something I want to focus on for this course, but just super helpful in general as you think about future career options, not just in the environmental sector, but really any sector where you're having to display any type of complex concepts. Often a diagram can go a lot farther than just putting up a bunch of text or trying to talk through it in a complicated way. And so figuring out ways to create diagrams and make nice aesthetic and digital diagrams is what this activity this week is all about. So you're going to learn the aesthetic pieces and what makes for good graphic design in general. And then also how do you actually make some of these great diagrams from scratch using some of these different digital tools that I want to expose you to. And so look through that prompt. There's a lot of info there. You're going to want to read through it. It's a step-by-step process of working through everything for this week. So make sure to give yourself a good amount of time and work through this process this week for your class time and in the beginning of next week. And then next week, by Tuesday, 12:30, you'll do a draft of this digital design, and then we're going to practice some peer critique as well and learn some skills in that and how to do that well using our feedback sandwiches, or also known as, sandwiches that don't taste too good because there's not something delicious on the inside, because that's where all the critical comments are. But won't use won't get onto that too much. We'll talk about it more next week. But by next Tuesday, you'll do a draft of this digital design of the critical zone hydrology. Then you'll critique each other. And then those critiques will help you improve the final version, which you'll then submit to me. And you can see the grading rubric and stuff there. But again, this is mostly about a participation grade. Did you complete the work? Did you give good feedback to a classmate? Things like that. And it all happened via iLearn. And it's all asynchronous too. So depending on everyone's schedules and stuff, we can all work throughout the week. Also next week, your tasks will be giving some small peer critique to a classmate on their digital design, and then improving your own understanding of graphic design through that process too. And then also next week, we're gonna do the rest of those. We have several presentations on geological resources and hazards that just haven't been given yet. And unfortunately, we can't do those the same way we did them in the first half semester, like in person in the classroom. So instead, what we're going to do is we are going to have you do a revised version of it, which is basically creating the exact same presentation, but instead of talking like you would, I thought about it for a while and talked to other faculty, but decided the best thing to do was to have all of you just in the notes sections of your slides type out exactly word for word what you would say, and making sure that overall everything that's typed up in those notes for all those different slides doesn't exceed, that works within the time limit of the 5 to 7 minutes for the presentations. So that's if someone was speaking at like a normal pace. So you're still going to want to type it up, speak it out, make sure it's not too long or too short, and get that to an appropriate length when you're talking at a normal pace. And to be fair to everyone, since a lot of people had to talk in person and it's hard to practice that and get all that together, I'm changing the rubric for these last presentations. So to make it fair to everyone, the second half, or not second half, but the few remaining students that still have to go, they are going to just have that oration piece of the rubric taken out, and you're going to just have your grade divided between your scientific components, the rhetoric and storyline that you create and type up, and then the graphics that you use within the slides. So all the same pieces that were in there for the other students, just taking out the oration piece, and instead of having 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%, it's just 33% for those other ones to get your final grade. And that way I think it's as fair as I can make it considering the circumstances, and that you'll be graded more heavily on those other components because all that'll weight up versus the oration, which just gets taken out. Since you don't have to practice and do that piece. So apologies for everyone, it's not totally equal across the board, but I tried my best to make it as fair as possible. I think this makes it really fair in the end for how the grades are distributed and everything else. Let's see. So yeah, this week Follow the assignments on iLearn. They have all the information step by step of how to create this digital graphic that is just like kind of essentially a digital diagram flowchart of the critical zone and how water moves through that system. And then you'll have a draft of that up for due this time next week for peer critique. You'll do those critiques, and you also give feedback through forums on the other people's presentations. They're natural resource presentations that, or hazard presentations that for those few students who have left to do those. So those would be the two things for next week. So for most people, it's just the digital design, and some people have to also think about updating their PowerPoint so they have that text underneath it as well. Great. And let me know if you have other questions. Send me an email. Feel free for a phone call or a quick text message is fine too, just at like normal hours. And look forward to seeing you folks next week. Take care. Bye.